All right, this is a brief video tutorial to talk about the crisscross method that we can use to determine the formula for an ionic compound. So this video is basically showing a shortcut on how to determine a formula from the name of a compound. In order to understand the chemistry and what is really happening in terms of electron transfer and things like that, you will have to take a look at some other learning materials, or you may have already. But this is just basically a quick lesson on this crisscross method on how to get a chemical formula from a name. So we're going to dive right in. I'm going to do an example. And our first example, we're going to look at example. We'll start with lithium chloride. So this is just a plain ionic compound. It's called a binary ionic compound because it has one metal and one non-metal. And we know from before that this bond is held together by electrostatic attraction from a metal and a non-metal that results from the transfer of electrons. Now, if we want to figure out the formula for this compound, what you want to do is write out our steps. I'm going to write out the steps. The first step is to write out the symbols of the elements involved, including the ionic charges. So for our lithium chloride, we know that lithium is Li, and we know that chloride is the ion form of chlorine, and we know that is Cl. Now, if you are unsure of the ionic charge for this compound or for these elements, you need to take a look at the periodic table. So you can determine ionic charge from Bohr-Rutherford diagrams, but you also can get it from this side of your periodic table that I will give you a printed copy of in class, but I've provided it electronically. So lithium, right here, if we look, it's kind of blurry, but we can see that our lithium is Li+, and way over here, our chlorine is Li with a negative symbol. So our lithium charge is a positive and our chlorine is a -1. Now, after we write that out, we simply we drop the charges and we crisscross the numbers. So that looks like this. If we have our lithium with a plus, and I'm going to write the +1 this time, just so we remember that it is really a 1. We take this 1, this invisible 1, and we cross it down here. And we take this invisible 1, and we cross it down here. And so we end up with Li1, Cl1. Except we all know that in science, we don't really write those 1s. So we get rid of the 1s and it becomes LiCl. The third step doesn't really apply to this example, but we're going to write it out and I'm going to show you what I mean. But we put in lowest terms. So our ionic formula is actually a ratio of atoms bonded together, and we'll get into that in another lesson. But another example that where we would have to put something in lowest terms is if we were looking at magnesium oxide. So for magnesium oxide, following our same rules, I'm going to go magnesium and oxygen. I'm going to double check my periodic table. Over here, magnesium is a 2+, and my oxygen is an ionic charge of 2-. So I'm going to write my charges in 2+. Or sorry, it's +2, not 2+. Oh no, it is 2+. 2+, 2-. So we take our drop our symbols and cross our numbers. That's not what I wanted. Red. So this 2 comes down here, and this 2 comes down here. So we end up with Mg. I almost skipped a step. 2O2. So when we say put it in lowest terms, if we can divide all of the subscripts by the same number, we're not in lowest terms. So we have 2 magnesiums and 2 oxygens. So we can put that in lowest terms, and that becomes MgO. Okay, so this is just a brief lesson on how to use our crisscross method to determine our formulas. If you wanted to go the other way and determine our name from a formula, it's very straightforward, because we'll just do a quick example here. If we wanted to go the other way and if we wanted to name something like K2S, all we have to do is write the name of the metal. So K, potassium, followed by the name of the nonmetal with the ending "ide." Sulfide. Okay. Just going to clean that up. So naming from a formula when it's just a straightforward ionic compound is very straightforward. The name of the first metal stays the same, and the ending of the nonmetal gets changed to "ide." Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. Do some practice, and we will do a couple together in class as well.